Good evening, audience, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very privileged to share what personally I myself experienced in the last few years. We are talking about today crime against humanity in the 21st century and about the role of international organization. But we are, the Uyghurs, one of the victims of the worst crime committed by a state. And we are so desperate in the last 7 years. But let me first share what the Uyghur people are experiencing in the last 7 years and why this is happening now. What's the historical the background, why this is happening. Now I'm going to share. Now you can see the Chinese Uyghur Genocide historical examination. So today's Uyghur crisis in the People's Republic of China is not a new one, but an old one and unsolved one. The current situation is one of the worst crimes that a country has openly committed against a specific ethnicity since the Second World War. You can see the map where the East Turkestan located. Can you imagine the landmass of that country, bigger than Western Europe? More than 40% of China's natural resources comes from East Turkestan. And throughout the history, there are countless of wars and wars between the Huns and Turkic people from the nomadic steppes and the Middle Kingdom, known to the West as China. And, oh, great, thank you. And in this China, nowadays China, a country, they proud so much about their Great Wall of China. It was built before Common Era, 221, by Qin Shi Huang, Chinese emperor. And in March 2027, China's new dictator Xi Jinping ordered to build a Great Wall of Iron around East Turkestan. China is called Xinjiang, which means in Chinese new frontiers, new land, new territory, for the sake of national security or unity. And Xinhua News, Chinese state media Xinhua News reported in 2017. At this wall, you can see this represents in between almost 2,000 years differences. So why China is building 21st century concentration camps under the name of re-education centers? China wants to re-engineer, as Penny said, many nations in the world, they don't want the people in the country or so-called country which is occupied by force. And they don't want these people wanting to live with their own identity. They want to re-engineer the people to much more suit their own interest. So China wants to re-engineer the Uyghurs' cultural identity as Han Chinese through assimilation, using every possible inhuman method to achieve their permanent colonization of Uyghur homeland, East Turkestan. The 1.8 million square kilometer of massive territory. I don't want to give more details, probably the last one. So 1750, it was Manchu Qing, which is a non-Chinese or non-Han Chinese, another kind of Mongol-related smaller tribe who ruled China. Chinese people, they don't call themselves China, they call Zhongguo, means Middle Kingdom. That term comes from the Arabic, from the French, and comes up how it became common called China, which Zhongguo in Chinese means new. Now, okay, the last 2 centuries of history in the region have seen many brutal events since the Manchu Qing occupation in the 1750s. Often uprisings, wars followed by massive revenge killings, and these massacres were mostly racially motivated. For example, Russian General Alexei Nikolaevich Kropotkin's book Kashkaria published in 1882 in Russian, described the Manchu general Zhou Zongtang's reconquest of Kashgaria, East Turkestan, in the 1970s. When you can see the map, clearly, can you spot that? This map was produced, one of the Scottish the science in 1876, John Barlow. Can you see clearly? E. Turkestan. And can you see in the west? W. Turkestan. Western Turkestan, Eastern Turkestan. Western Turkestan totally became a part of, in the end of 19th century, became Russian occupation and the fall Russian. And East Turkestan, Russia's pushed Uyghurs to be part of China. They don't want the Uyghurs to be independent because there's Uzbeks, Kazakhs, there's the divide and reconquer and separate from the roots. That's how they in the last 2 centuries, how much the suffers of these people is like mostly we can see the Uzbeks. They are paid one of the massive price, and now the Uyghurs paying that price. And after the Manchu collapse in 1912, China established Chinese national government called Kuomintang, which is now Kuomintang national. They are in Taiwan. In the Civil War 1949, they escaped to Taiwan. That's Taiwan now. And in 1949, established Communist China. And but Uyghurs, that territory, 1959, was occupied by Manchu, non-Chinese. 1912, they overthrew that the empire. Then they did not allow Uyghurs to be independent. Even just after the Second World decolonization, international decolonization process, it not include China at all. At all. China just inherited all the area, like Mongolia divided into 2, southern Mongolia, Tibet, and Uyghur homeland. So never mind, Uyghurs never given up their rights to self-determination and independence. So 12 November 1933, Uyghurs established first time Republic of East Turkestan. That time in the Islamic world, in short Islamic world, except Turkey probably, there's no independent nation. Turkey established 1921, and 10 years later, Uyghurs established the Republic of East Turkestan. And this was a second time, in 1944, again 12th of November, the sitting on the left hand, Ahmadjan Qasimi, leader of Republic of East Turkestan and Uyghur delegation, in the opposite, Chiang Kai-shek, which is the president of Kuomintang. That was negotiated Chiang Kai-shek. That was the fact. And now, so it's after 1949, the Chinese Communist Party, which is led by Mao Zedong, which again, all the Communist Party, everything was helped by the Russians. Everything, all Communist Party, everything. I don't want to go on all details, but after China established, the Wang Jun, one of the general, was sent but far away. You can imagine from inner China camp to East Turkestan, at least 3,000 kilometers, at least between the desert, at least 3,000 kilometers. From Beijing, of course, more than 4,000 kilometers. They can't do that. What they did? So after they called the president of Republic of East Turkestan, Ahmadjan Qasimi, for negotiating with Beijing before they announced the establishment of Chinese Communist Party, Republic of China. And they flew, not Beijing, actually flew to Almaty, and then from Almaty directly flew to Moscow and secretly killed by KGB. And all East Turkestan leaders vanished. And then at the same time, Moscow sent transport planes to Xi'an, to Beijing, transport Chinese army to Urumqi. What Stalin said, you have to do now. Now the West is paying the attention on this last large area. You have to do now. Otherwise, you will not be. They will become independent. It will be threat my rule in Central Asia, like Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. We have to do it. So Stalin put all his military efforts to dividing Germany into two, North Korea into two, Mongolia into two, and East Turkestan also into two. And that's what Uyghurs' fate designed during the Yalta conference. And now I get back the years you can see on the. So these ladies are Ba Qian Hu Nu Jia Qin. What it means, like thousands of the female soldiers going to be establish new family in new land. These are from Shanghai. So like massive, they arrested Kuomintang soldiers, all sent to Urumqi. And here and there you can see very historical. This is how they, the first time they arrived, 1949 in October. And you can see on the left corner, little Arabic script, which from that time, the rest Chinese. I don't want to go for more details on that. This is about the historical background. So what's happening in recent time? Again, Uyghurs' fate also directly related to the Central Asia. After the Soviet Union collapse in 1990s, so the Uyghurs witnessed their ethnic kin people like Uzbek and Kazakh and Kyrgyz achieve their independence overnight. It's a big surprise, overnight. But they fought it for centuries, especially Uzbeks. They couldn't achieve, but achieved overnight without a bullet. So we are very proud of them, and we are enjoyed the happiness. Something changed. Therefore, aspiration for the independence grew, and systematic resistance against Chinese rule developed among the Uyghurs. So you can see the map. You can see Kazakhstan, one of the largest country, East Turkestan, Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region, massive. We have 13 territory, and Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan. And what happened next? China realized. So, okay. Did I jump too much? Yeah, okay. So at that time, Jiang Zemin was Chinese Communist Party secretary, and he didn't do as evil as Xi Jinping. He little bit hesitated, but he designated that policies. The stability of China, especially the East Turkestan, Chinese called Xinjiang, comes from this separatism. So Uyghurs' legitimate desire for even to be equal rights, any kind of dissident movement or request or demand labeled with separatism. That started from 1991. And we can see, if you hear the 5th of February, Gulja massacre, 1997, one of the first ever the open massacre happened in Gulja, which Gulja is very close to Kazakhstan. And that was one of the Uyghur cultural activists called Meshef was cracked down, and members of the event participants all arrested. And so I briefly, there's a little bit story about this video clip. I first share about the Channel 4 news. Also, could you, sorry, okay, it's in my country, okay. Could you play that?
This program has obtained exclusive evidence of what Beijing itself calls a pitiless crackdown on a nascent independence movement in the province of Xinjiang. The home of the Muslim Uyghur people, the area was briefly known after the war as the Republic of East Turkestan. But in 1949, Chairman Mao absorbed it into the province of Xinjiang. In recent years, the Uyghurs have been the victims of discrimination, and any protest has been swiftly crushed. Our Foreign Affairs correspondent, Gabi Rado, has a special report on the situation there. Viewers are warned that some of the images and scenes in his report are disturbing.
In Chinese, Xinjiang means new frontier. But for many, this is eastern Turkestan, one of the ancient lands of the Silk Road. Though Beijing has long claimed its many ethnic groups live together in harmony, the largest of the Muslim people in the province, the Uyghurs, are now asserting their identity and challenging the Chinese government. In February this year, many hundreds of demonstrators took to the streets of Gulja in the northwest of Xinjiang. Word had spread among them that 30 Uyghurs accused of agitation against the government had been executed. Thousands of troops were rushed in to crush the demonstration, which took place over 2 days. Exiles claim soldiers shot dead unarmed protesters.
Okay, so I have to move. This is particularly related. There's another video clip. This also happened, reported by UK Channel 4 News by John on 1997, soon after the massacre. And after 27 years later, I gave interview to John, and I called, what's happening, we could play
So earlier I spoke to Aziz Isa, a London-based Uyghur academic and activist, and I started by asking for his reaction to the Chinese ambassador who said there was no Uyghur repression in China.
That's not true. This is the nature of Chinese. Okay, so it's very. I mean, personally, I'm very sad about the same person now. John, Channel 4 News, he retired last year. And before the interview started, I told about him. He reported when I came to London. I said you reported 1997 Uyghur massacre in Gulja. What he said? Oh yes, I know the Uyghur. Why this is a problem? Why no one cares about it? And 27 years later, as I give interview for him, I talk about the genocide was happening. And he was now retired. This one person's true story, and past how many years? 27 years, from one massacre to genocide. And now, you can see now. Now we can see now. Yeah, we can see on the map. I didn't include the 5th of July Urumqi massacre. Maybe many of you are aware about this. Also happened more than 10 years ago. And you can see what was happening since 2017. The concentration camp, internment camp, or we call generally the Uyghur Genocide in the century. And look at the map. I don't talk much this time. So look at the map. This massive 1.8 million square kilometer territory. More than 12,000 camps built. And one of the camps near Urumqi can host more than 10,000 people and can see clearly from the satellite. And we can see the Mihril Tursun, one of the first Uyghur able to survive and escape from the camp, because her partner was Egyptian, and she was allowed to leave. So what she said, she gave testimony to the United States Congress in September 2018. What she said, unfortunately, I witnessed 9 deaths in my cell of 68 people in those 3 months alone. I witnessed 9 deaths in my cell of 68 people in those 3 months alone. If my cell, my small cell number 210, in a small county, experienced 9 deaths in 9 months, I cannot imagine how many deaths there must be all over the country. This suggests more than 10% of the detainees in her cell died within a short 3-month period. If this kind of death rate is consistent throughout the camp, then the total number of deaths among the more than 1 million detainees is a secret horror of the Chinese secret camps, which we're still waiting to uncover. Now there's first time also I met on the phone the Kalbinur Siddiq sitting over there. So I gave, she gave interview to the UK's Guardian, and I interpreted her and produced 6 minutes of video. If the panel admin, if allowed me to play, give me time, I will play that video later on. But I have very important, my conclusion I just made at the end of my presentation. The Uyghurs assert their heritage as an independent nation, while the Chinese communists illicitly seized the land, and in recent years initiated genocide acts to solidify their colonization and annexation of the vast Uyghur homeland as an integral part of China. Notably, the Chinese government deliberately evaded addressing the fundamental issue of Uyghur autonomy, which was granted in 1955, instead of fully implementing the provisions enshrined in the Chinese constitution. They frequently target Uyghurs with charges of separatism and terrorism whenever they sought equal rights with the majority of Han Chinese citizens and the complete realization of Uyghurs' autonomous political status, or even gaining independence from China. Many of you know that Chinese Uyghur genocide was not started with its notorious Chinese concentration camps since 2017, but it has begun since the Uyghur homeland occupied by the Chinese communists in 1949. But to be clear, the Uyghurs never aimed to separate Shanghai or Beijing or any Chinese territory, but we are trying to survive from the Chinese genocide. We wish to live in our own independent country peacefully with our dignity and rights, preserving our language, culture, and heritage. It's an absolute moral and principal obligation of the world, including all UN member states, to save innocent people's lives from genocide. The human consciousness of the world, especially the Western countries, cannot afford to stay idle while another never again Holocaust is happening in the 21st century. The world must take action to protect the Uyghurs and save their lives from China's genocide. It's too dangerous for the world that China can go free so long with its crimes against humanity while deceiving the world with its lies. It's in everyone's interest for the world to be a peaceful place for all humans can live in peace regardless of their race, faith, color, and culture. Therefore, the world must hold China accountable for genocide against the Uyghur people. I just end here. Thank you.